Hello and welcome to The Cast of Us, a podcast dedicated to The Last of Us on HBO and brought to you by the Fan Critical Podcast Network. We are back with another one of our patented hot take episodes. Straight after watching the episode, me and a guest who you will hear from in a second. I don't know why I said guest. We'll be here to give you our uninfected thoughts on that episode before later in the week bringing you our deep dive with Clicker Corner, all of the video game Easter eggs, and our fellow survivor, John. Of course, we have a scene-by-scene breakdown in that episode as well. Now, as I said, a guest. I am joined by a guest today, and it is a man, I've written here in my notes, as creepy as David. But then I think that's a bit harsh, really, isn't it? It's little Gareth.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on the show. Really weird comparison to make. A paedophile, cannibal,
biblical man,
preacher.
Biblical man.
I can
Bible man.
Confirm I'm none of those things, and no, I'm not happy with that at all.
No, fair enough.
Take that back.
You can be his right hand man. You can be the James, who is just a bit emo and not sure what he's doing in life. How does that sound?
I mean, it's like I listen to Blink 182.
There you go.
Yeah.
Of course, we can't score the episode in the hot take. That is illegal. It has been ratified by law enforcement here in Australia, in the UK and America. So if we do, we will be arrested and potentially chopped up and called venison and then served to parishioners. So, Gareth, with that in mind, what are your thoughts on episode 8 of The Last of Us?
It was really good. Getting bored saying it, to be honest. Like, what? I'm not going to come on here and say anything else. It was like had a lot of horror elements to it, this episode. Some of the cinematography and the editing and the framing and stuff and the music, it felt like a bit of a slasher movie at times. I think
there's a lot of slashing at the end of the episode.
Yeah, it did. Cleavering maybe.
Yeah, cleavering.
I don't want to say kind of what my highlights were because I want to save that for the hot takes because there are a couple of really key standout elements of this episode that I think made it work brilliantly that I want to talk about in a bit. But yes, overall, another successful episode in my opinion. What did you think?
Yes. What did I think? It's a wild episode, isn't it? At the end of the episode is fucking mad. And to be honest, my biggest complaint is I felt this episode could have been longer. The guy playing David, and I haven't had time to look this up, so don't judge me, listeners. Deep dive, I'll have all the info written down. But he is fucking creepy and so unsettling. And I feel like they were doing some really interesting stuff with his community. And I maybe could have had one or two more scenes there. Because you don't really get that in the game because it's all from Joel and Ellie's perspective. It's nice to sort of... I know it didn't work necessarily brilliantly with Kansas City and... what's her name? Kathleen. But I feel like here it actually was really fucking creepy and I really wanted to see a bit more of it.
Very creepy.
Yeah, like that whole religious cult in the apocalypse vibe. I'm down for seeing more of that because it kind of creeps me out and it's the horror elements that I really like. You know what I mean?
You're right. You are right, but you can't have it both ways, mate. You're saying last week, you're saying, oh, they've got to move things along. I'm worried how long they're spending. They've got to get through.
Yeah.
And
I was worried about that because I knew the runtime of this episode and I knew that let's put it this way. I got like 10 minutes from the end of the episode this week and I was like, how the fuck are they going to replicate the game here? I didn't know how they were going to do it. I was like, there's no time. There's no way they're going to do it. And they smashed it, to be fair, so their judgment is correct. I mean, the end is fucking awful and when I played the game as you did, bludgeoning that fucker to death was captured perfectly
cathartic.
Here. Oh, you fucking felt it, yeah. And... I'm just saying that maybe an extra 5 or 10 minutes wouldn't go amiss. Okay, just all I'm saying. Now, other than that, the end of the episode stunning.
Extra 7
and
minutes
horrible.
would have gone.
Yeah,
nicely.
maybe. And brutal. It was, it was a great episode, fantastic episode. And
Good.
I'll save my score for the for the deep dive. I was about to score it.
Fuck, do you want to
And
be
I would've been
arrested,
chopped up.
mate? Fuck me.
And chopped up
And chopped
served.
up.
To the listeners,
Which is worse
if
in a
anything,
way.
would you say the listeners in a way are our parishioners?
They're our flock. Yeah.
They're our flock. Yes, dear listener, you are our flock, and we will gladly chop Gareth up and feed him to you. No, I'm joking. Anyway,
It's not going far, let's be fair.
no, it's not. I mean, yeah, maybe we'll have to chop John up. That'll work. Anyway, before we jump into the hot takes, I just want to say thank you for all the fantastic support, guys. If you want to get your feedback into us for the feedback section, which we read out in the deep dive, you can email us at fancriticalpodcast@gmail.com. That's fancriticalpodcast@gmail.com. The email is in the show notes, so just go down there, click on it, write us a little email with your thoughts and feelings if you want as well. And just to say, you can also give us some money at patreon.com/fancritical, but I'll plug that more in the deep dive. Let's move on to these hot takes. Little Gareth. Hot take number 1. Should we start with the man of the hour?
Yeah, I think we have to.
David. Yeah.
He was a phenomenal villain. He was so good. Just the menacing air, the creepiness. You don't want to make those comparisons to Kathleen. But you know it's going to come. And this was kind of how, like, softly spoken evil is done.
Yeah. He, I thought in the game, he's obviously like, it's the same. He's quite softly spoken. He gives Ellie all these olive branches, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. But they made him even more fucked up in the show. I feel like they made him way more unsettling. He sort of lulls you in and shows you his true colours layer by layer until you get that, frenetic, brutal ending of the episode where he's like, yeah, this is who I really am.
Yeah.
And this is the thing about violence and the world in which these characters live. When they're pushed to their limits, they will show you who they really are. And that is a little bit of foreshadowing for maybe the finale that we're going to see next week, which is interesting. But yeah, man, like I thought this was a better version of David from the game, to be honest.
I think it was more nuanced, and he, a lot of things kind of early on. Obviously, this is deliberate, but early on there are likable things about the way that he acts, but just with those like hints that he's not quite right. Like his little stares at people, or like the way that he kind of approaches, crying girl grieving over her dad, that everything about him was just slightly off. But then
then he's slightly off, isn't it?
Yeah, and then he speaks, and it's like, okay, I mean, yeah, he's saying go and get some medicine. That's quite nice.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, let's go and warm up in the hut because it's cold. That's all right. That's fair. Also, I'm gonna chop you up into little bits. Okay.
Sorry, what was that last one?
It's cold outside, so let's go back in the.
Oh, yeah. Right, nice one. Yeah.
Well, I'll chop you up. Yeah, really good performance and a really good character. Creepy as fuck. Do you know one thing that annoys me though about, like, this is always the case with these culty types. In fact, maybe we'll blend this into hot take 2.
Blending.
Yep. Is when they full name, like they give the full first name every time. It's like David, Timothy, Marco, like just shorten each other's names, man. Like you know each other.
Dave.
It's Timmy.
Tim.
Yeah, Timbo.
What's James going to be then?
Jimmy.
Jam?
Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah, okay. In a way, that's longer, Gareth. It's not really a shortening.
It's a familiarized version, isn't it?
James?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I went to school with a James who we used to call Mez because there's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
There you go.
that's an option.
So hot take 2 is nicknames.
Nicknames. Bring in nicknames. No, just
Okay.
religious cult types.
Yeah. The Book of David. The
yeah.
Book of John.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, Gareth, they love it.
That's true. That is true. The
Yeah.
Book of Timothy.
Yeah,
That's not
well,
one. They in another world they could have just been a folk band, couldn't they? Like,
oh yeah.
they had the beards for it.
They definitely had the beards for it. Fuck me.
But they were so
No one likes shaving in that community.
they were so meek and like just these kind of passive followers of this creepy guy. I was like, come on, get some ownership of your life. Take control.
Well, that's what this world does to you, Gareth. It beats you down into submission for those who are, strong-willed to lead in a way. Hot take number 3, I've put Joel's interrogation. So, Joel's all right, thank fuck. Just took him a while. Lots of penicillin, weeks probably of healing. But the interrogation scene I thought was like, now look, people are going to get angry when I say this, especially people who defend Joel as a character. And look, Joel is one of my favourite characters in anything ever. So I am also very defensive of him. But he has done some horrible, horrible things. And will do some horrible, horrible things. So it's difficult because he's one of those grey characters that we love talking about, but the interrogation scene is just proof of the life that he has led to this point. You see all the things that he's had to do to survive. This is brutal. This is ruthless. Like we haven't really seen him before. He's reluctantly violent in previous episodes, like the old man in the sniper's tower, and with Sam and Henry, he's trying to help them and stuff like that. But here, when someone in his family is threatened, and I've put family in quotation marks because now Ellie has finally transcended cargo to family.
Remove those quotation marks.
Yeah, get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, she is family. When you threaten his family, he will fucking destroy you and everyone you love to save them, right? And here, this is a fucking brutal example of how far that man will go, right? And I thought it was fantastic.
It was fantastic, and it was brutal, and it was disturbing.
Yeah, I will say disturbing as well.
Yeah, yeah. But in a way, impressive. Like between him and Ellie, like there's two of them. They come away with like a 7-0 victory here. It's like, it is. Don't look at me like that. It is impressive that they managed to take down all of these. Joel is very strategic. He has to be. Obviously, he's heavily weakened. But he manages to kind of, one by one take them out. It was almost a bit Home Alone-esque. It was like, oh yeah, we'll get the first one, we'll lure him into the basement, and there's a trap, and then there's another trap around the corner. With
what sort of Home Alone are you watching?
Home Alone 2. Only
where,
this one was less
where they
violent.
All would definitely die. Where they all would definitely die when the traps that he sets up
immediately. Like he throws bricks at their head from like
like
from
a
2-story
5-story building.
Yeah. Like, you're dead. But yeah, it was a sign. It showed you, like you said, how much he cares about Ellie, and I think he can control those violent impulses, but not when it comes to Ellie anymore.
Hot take 4 then, Gareth.
Hot take 4 is, despite the violence and the horror of this episode, that I think there was a line that really got me right at the end when Joel says, "It's okay, baby girl."
Yeah, famous line.
I couldn't.
Famous line.
Like, it was just perfect. It was perfect after everything Ellie had been through, after everything Joel had been through to get her back, everything Ellie had to do just to survive, and fuck me, that was it. Got, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did he get? Obviously, we're both relatively
yeah.
recent parents. I happen to have a little daughter, and so I don't know. Just the literal words like "baby girl" and that protective instinct. It's like, oh man,
it calls back to Sarah as well, and that's the most important thing for his character is holding Sarah as she died. He said that, and now he's holding Ellie as she's survived. And there's that contrast between, and we'll get into this in the deep dive because it's very interesting, but there's that contrast between the innocence of Sarah and the survivalist in Ellie.
Yeah.
And how one of his children, family now, has survived. But yeah, it did get me. And talking about that survival instinct, I'm going to go on to hot take number 5, which is Ellie surviving.
Right.
Basically, is my title. And I thought I was a bit skeptical of her early in the episode. I think she's amazing. I thought she was amazing last week. But the last 20 minutes of this episode, she is fucking amazing. Right?
Yep.
It was like just next level good. Right? There's a bit of irony involved in these scenes, Gareth, and I thought I'd highlight this in the hot take, and we'll get into it in the deep dive as well. So Troy Baker, who plays Joel in the games, is playing James, David's right-hand man, in this episode. And Ellie kills him. So in a way, Ellie kills Joel. It's fucking bizarre. I was like, this is weird.
Wouldn't it have been good though if we had like Joel fighting Joel? It would be like that Spider-Man GIF where it's like
the GIF. Yeah. That would have been very good. Yeah. So either way, it was a bit of an Easter egg for everyone, obviously.
Yeah.
But also her going full fucking beast mode on David at the end when he's like trying to rape her, which is fucking disgusting. And she's just turning his head into fucking mush. Yeah. And there's blood splatter and it's hitting the lens and then the image is getting all fogged up and it was brutal. And she's a survivor at any costs, and she's learned so much from Joel in that regard. You know what I mean?
There are moments like, do you know what? It reminded me of a couple of moments in film where sometimes, usually, that kind of level of violence is too much to watch. Like it's hard to watch it, But there's a couple of films like, in Blood Diamond. There's spoilers for Blood Diamond.
Oh yeah, he does the same.
When the dad gets
Solomon Vandy,
Solomon gets the guy who had taken his son.
My God.
And he just smashes the shit out of him with a spade.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And 7, when Brad Pitt takes out fucking...
Right, spoilers for 7 coming up.
We're spoiling it all. If you haven't seen 7, turn off now. But when Brad Pitt just loses it at Kevin Spacey, it's these are just so justified,
warranted.
They're so earned, and again, just incredible that this show has got us to that point in one episode of TV. It's not like they keep doing it every episode. There's somebody that I care about,
like David.
Care about.
I'm so gutted that David's dead. No.
Or in that time, you managed to hate them that much as well. It's amazing.
Yeah. Hats off to the showrunners. They did it in 50 minutes this week, which has blown my mind because I felt it was, it needed to be at least an hour. And of course, we're going to talk about that and the runtime of episode 9, which is 43 minutes, in the deep dive. But that is it for the hot take episode. Thank you to our very own David and Gareth. No, I'm joking. He's just out of order, really. Shouldn't be saying that.
That's far too much.
No, thanks for being here, mate. I'll see you in a day or so's time for the deep dive with our boy John, who I'm sure has lots of thoughts on this episode. He recently came out of a cult himself. So
he was leading the cult.
Oh, yes, that's right. He was leading the cult, yeah. So he will have a fascinating sort of interpretation of this episode. I can't wait for it. But that's it. Send in your feedback, fancriticalpodcast@gmail.com. Feature yourself in the old feedback section of the deep dive. And as I said, any extra support, review, subscribe, or go to patreon.com/fancritical and help us out financially. Until then, we're going to go, write some more notes, come up with some more theories and that. And we'll see you in a few days. See you later. Bye.
% of households that start the year with Peloton are still active a year later.
92% because of a bike?
Not just bikes. We also make treadmills and rowers.
Oh, let me guess, for elite athletes only, right?
Nope. It doesn't matter if you're an avid exerciser or new to working out. Peloton can help you achieve your fitness goals. 92% stick with it. So can you. Try Peloton bikes, tread, or row risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only. Not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where the sky's the limit thanks to better internet. With lightning-fast speeds up to 1 gig, you can game like a boss, stream like a pro, and watch like there's no tomorrow. Stream, watch, post, send, and trend. Do it all with our fiber-powered network, bringing you reliable, fast internet. Welcome to BreezeLine. Visit breezeline.com for latest offers. Service subject to availability. New customers in select areas only. Visit breezeline.com for details.